Hi there, and it's Lynn, and I'm on my YouTube channel just making this video today. And I wanted to talk predominantly to the divine feminine star seeds and way showers that are looking for answers and seeking ways to empower themselves and to reclaim their divine soul sovereignty and stand up into their true power and light. And I wanted to talk about the womb and the importance of the womb in our healing and empowerment journey, our ascension journey. Now, it was interesting. I was talking to a starseed last week in the States who'd lived in Sedona for quite a while. And she had no idea that the womb was so important to her sovereignty and to her healing. And I don't mean that in a negative way. What I'm saying is there are, it's so interesting that false light teachings very much miss out the empowerment of the divine feminine through the womb and sexual organs and sacral chakra. And also it goes for men, actually, in the fact that the divine masculine have uh, a lot of their own sacred sovereign practices, shall we say, and their empowerment and core power sits in the sacral chakra for them. And so they can have huge wounding of the sacral chakra as well. Now, let's be honest, the sacral chakra and the sexuality of us has been targeted for eons of time. And sex has been brought into a very derogatory type energy, hasn't it? And a very like lust, and it's all, you know, the porn industry and all of those things associated with it. And it's been made to feel dirty, sacred union between a man and a woman. Yeah. And the universe was created through the cosmic womb, through the orgasmic bliss of Mother, Father, God, and Source. And they gave us that gift within the angelic human body template of orgasmic bliss. And we have lost that connection, or lots of humanity have lost that connection to what that really means. The fact that in the Lemurian times, that mothers were giving birth in orgasmic bliss. Yeah, and they were just in constant orgasm as they were delivering a baby. Yeah, so that the baby was brought through the birthing canal into, you know, from the cosmic womb through the mother's womb to this reality in an orgasmic state, so that they were born in the highest frequency and vibration they could be. I mean, what a start to life, being brought forwards in that energy. Can you imagine? So, over eons of time, the divine feminine, we know, was targeted, was suppressed. They wanted to strip the divine feminine energy from the planet Earth itself. We used to have a Amareya flame frequency running from the Godhead down into the crystalline core, and it was stripped from the crystalline core a long time ago, and it's back now. It's back. And that's why we've got the rise of the divine feminine, the micro and the macro. So Gaia, Mama Earth, stripped of her divine femininity and her energy, and trying to then like rise the patriarchal energy, the masculine energy within the whole planet, wanting that to dominate and suppress any energies of the feminine. Yet if they didn't have us, they couldn't be birthed. Mankind would die and go to extinction if we didn't reproduce and bring forward some birth a human being through our birth canal, which is a cosmic womb. We've all got cosmic wombs. So the divine feminine has been suppressed over eons of time, and the womb is the target amongst lots of other things, but the womb is the target. And we've got this thing going on now about artificial wombs, and that you should the mother energy and the mother title being stripped from certain sort of birthing centers and things like that. It's crazy, right? And that's all part of the agenda to strip the divine feminine away. Now, our wombs hold immense power. And when they become online fully, and we are alchemizing all of our shadow energies, frequencies, aspects, and parts back into wholeness and oneness and unity, we then merge internally as a soul with our inner divine masculine and inner divine feminine, and they come together and merge as one in a sacred inner divine union, inner sacred marriage, where you are unified as one with your masculine energy and your feminine energy. So you're balanced and whole and one, like Mother, Father, God, and Source. So the womb is very much key to that. And if we every lifetime we've had where we have been suppressed, we have lost our lives for trying to deliver our soul gifts and abilities, for speaking up on behalf of ourselves or other women, or not conforming and arguing, or trying to hold your space and to protect others. All of that energy where we have had an injury, we have had a fracture, we have had a fragment break off of ourselves, or we have suffered tragedy, huge losses of the love of our lives, our beloveds, where we've loved and lost, where we've had relationships where we've been broken-hearted, right? Broken-hearted. That energy, never mind affects the heart, it affects the womb at the same time, and you hold that energy there. All of the suppression, all of the ways that you may have been suppressed and held down and controlled will be stored in the womb. All of the memories of the times when you suffered the most suppression, or you suffered abuse, will be stored in the womb, and it needs to heal. And just look at how women have painful periods now. That never was the case in the very beginning of time. Yeah, it was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful cycle. It was celebrated. And, you worked, your life ran with your cycles. And there was no pain, there was no discomfort, either in childbirth or in your monthly cycle. And when we get painful periods, it's because it's the energy sitting in the womb and in the sacral chakra, which is then causing a pain within our cycle, our monthly cycle, and we get period pain. And, I was listening to someone on YouTube the other day, just briefly, I was flicking videos, and she was saying how when she was in a really difficult relationship a long time ago, her period pains were terrible. And they were saying that she needed a hysterectomy. And she's been on her own a long time now. And in that time, that has all cleared up. She has no pain. She has no trouble. She's absolutely fine and dandy and never had any treatment after that. And she said that's proof in the pudding that the partner she had, who was very controlling and not very nice with her, was causing her to have the period pain. So you've got to look at things like this, all right? And there are ways to heal the womb. I've been working on womb healing since 2017, and I've facilitated quantum healing journeys with the womb. I've also held womb healing containers. I've healed my own womb of the worst atrocities of abuse for my womb. I've healed them. So it can be done. And you can lift so much energy off yourself when you heal your womb. And it's imperative for all starseeds to do this, because it's part of the ascension pathway to heal your womb, to open that heart chakra and that higher heart, and to get it to activate. And then it starts to, sort of open and become that crystalline heart that we all will be carrying. And also the heart is linked to the womb. So you tend to find that when you do your womb healing, your heart chakra opens. I had such a profound heart opening it must have been 2020. That's 5 years ago, around this time probably as well, where I was worked on the womb, and I'd suffered very severe abuse as a child and only just discovered it. So I knew I had to lift that energy out of my womb for me to be able to reclaim my divine soul sovereignty. The seat of your sovereignty is in your womb, within your 7 temples and gates. And your inner 7 temples within your womb and all of your sexual organs are so important. And the seat of your sovereignty lies in the holiest of the holies, which is your 7th temple and gateway. And if that is not, if you've not healed and lift off the debris, and you've broken the contracts linked to the womb work, right, then you can sit in your throne within your holiest of holies, within your womb, and you become a creator. And your energy, your orgasmic energy, is tachyon energy. It's what Tesla was trying to harness in the universe. Free energy, universal energy. It's tachyon energy. The orgasm is tachyon energy, and it can create universes and birth planets, never mind human beings. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that magical? So of course that will be targeted. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't the wombs of women be targeted? Because we're so powerful, because we can create universes and planets. That's why they don't want us to stand in our power. When we are fully activated as in our goddess energy, and our wombs are online, and we are in our creator mode. Wow. You can imagine, can't you? And I can't tell you how liberating it is when you clear your womb energy. And then even, let's get personal here, your orgasmic energy becomes even more deep and profound. Your orgasms become more deep and profound. Your multiple orgasmic waves on and on and on when that womb is healed and comes online. And another thing, when your womb heals and comes online, your creative ability explodes, and you're able to create and flow with the divine universe, the divine cosmic oceans and flows and rivers are coming through you and through your womb and out. It's amazing. So it's so important, and not enough is spoken about it. Now, there are a few ways you can work on this without going in other areas first. Like you can use yoni eggs, like round yoni crystalline eggs. I would recommend a rose quartz one to start with. very gentle, self-love of the womb, very much a yoni egg is a start. You can a rose quartz, if you have suffered abuse in any way, especially sexual abuse, it's absolutely imperative you do this womb work. It will help you lift it off. Also, a black obsidian yoni egg would help after the rose quartz one. Then you can go to things like carnelian. Carnelian is all about courage and empowerment and rising in your power. Lapis lazuli is a very good one for like the cosmic sisterhood of the rose and that goddess energy, that Hathor energy. You can also, you know, so that's that. You can do womb baths where you can get these special things that you put the herbs in the bath, then you sit over it and you put your yoni over it, okay? And you can do that. You have to be very gentle with yourself when you do this because it can really shift some energy all at once. Quite often when you're doing things like that, you can actually feel the energy moving in your womb. Yeah. Also, there are, you know, you see people having gatherings with womb work. Okay. You have to be very careful with who you allow in your womb. So let's just wrap that up. I don't want to make this too long, right? You have to be very careful with your sexual partners. If you think about it, if you have done so much work on yourself and you are standing in your power and sovereignty as a divine sovereign being like I am, all right? Would I let any Tom, Dick and Harry, not that I'm saying I would, but would I let any Tom, Dick and Harry that I meet who is not sovereign, who is not worked on themselves and is maybe a good looking chap, but actually is like very wounded on other levels, would I let him near me sexually? No. No. Why? Even if I fancied him, if yeah, right. Well, just think about what you're allowing in your temple. My body is a temple. It's online. It's activated. It's in its, you know, it's building its avatar self right now. Why would I allow someone who has not done the work, who could be hooked up on another level, and then is going to walk into my most holiest of holies, right? And be allowed to go in without any, shall I say, consecration or initiation? What do we do with people, you know, as they're going through initiations? They have to pass so many initiations to get to the holiest temple. You know, in the old days when we were training as adepts and we were in the temples in Atlantis and the Egyptian mystery schools, you wouldn't allow someone who'd only done a year's study right into the deepest temple. They'd have to go through all the outer temples first to get to the inner temple, to make sure that they knew how to navigate the inner temples and have the right practice and the right frequency to get to the highest temple. So why would you allow someone who maybe is only at temple 1 come straight into temple 7? You wouldn't. It's dangerous. It's not what you would do. It's the same with your own body and your inner temple. Would you allow that in? You have to be very, very careful. Very, very careful. I'm not trying to tell, you know, show you to be paranoid or anything, but it makes common sense, doesn't it? You have to be aware of who and what that person is. Are they working on themselves? Are they cleaning themselves up? Blah, 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 blah. So I hope that's just helped a little bit. For those of you that don't know much about the womb, and the womb work is so important, and it's part of my Venus membership that I'll be doing from the equinox. Oh God, I couldn't get my words out then. But the womb work, as I say, is so important and is very, very important to your sovereignty, your divine soul sovereignty. and to you healing the divine feminine wounds that you may be carrying. And I'm thinking about, I've had courses before, I've written courses before for this, and I've actually pulled them down again because they were a bit outdated. But I have a feeling I'm going to do and write a course pretty quick on this for divine feminine starseeds. And also I teach about divine feminine womb healing in my divine feminine quantum plasma bridge healing system, which I train other healers in. And as part of module 2, we do divine feminine quantum womb healing, and we work at a very high level. And we go in and break contracts that may be linked to your womb energy. We also clear lines of interference running into your womb energy, which can be off planet. In our multidimensional selves, we may have had lifetimes where we were captured. There was many blue-ray Melchizedeks and solar dragon queens taken from Lemuria and actually used in breeding by the Anunnaki. And we actually had lines of interference running into our wombs, still linked to that, as we were trying to get rid of them for eons of time. So that's just another thing to think about. If that resonates with you, or that's come up with you before, you must take off your lines of interference from your womb. And there are also contracts running. This is another speciality of mine. There are contracts running with the cosmic divine feminine and the cosmic sisterhood of the rose. And there was contracts running that were negative. And there was a duping of the sisterhood of the rose going back to Atlantean times. And there was a covenant signed on Sirius B, I think, that was actually a trick. And they added codicils to the contract after we'd signed it, which actually perpetrated the wounds of the divine feminine. And there was it was a bad move. We all do things and then we're tricked, and it's been very much they've tricked the divine feminine over the eons of time. So there was a contract running there that needs to be broken, and that's something that I always release ever so often for people. I've been doing it. I wrote that contract breaker about 4 or 5 years ago, and I continue to release it ever so often, and it's also in all my programs as well. So that's very important, to release your womb wounds as well. So I hope that's made sense. If you've got any questions, you can leave it underneath the video, or if you want to look up my website, that's fine. Just be aware that you can clear all of this up. This is all achievable. This is all, we can heal and transmute it and alchemize it. And many of us are doing that without even realizing it anyway. But just think, if you work on your womb and the DNA that is sitting in your womb, not only from your own mothers and your grandmothers and all the generations back, but also we take on the DNA of every sexual relationship we've ever had, even when we were 16 years old or 18 years old or 20, or a one-night stand or whatever it was. All the DNA from all those sexual partners stays in your womb till you start to clear, heal and transmute that. And you can do that. So I hope, as I say, this has been helpful. I hope you're coping with the frequencies and energies building up to the equinox on this Thursday, and then the second eclipse at the end of March. So stay grounded, centered in your heart space. Don't take too much of the news, and stay in your own lane, and up your meditation, and you're going to be fine. So sending you all my love, and have a great week. Okay. Have a great week. All right.